Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We rented movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the feedback bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge sent us podcast.
I don't know you. I don't know this guy Sam, but let me tell you what he did to me. He kept me up all night singing, I'm Henry VIII, I am.
That's how he got me to go out with him. Look, I'm sorry. I just don't believe in this life after death stuff.
I'll tell her she's wrong.
Says you're wrong.
You're talking to him right now.
Yeah, you just asked me to tell you that you were wrong.
So where is he?
I can't see him. I can only hear him.
What do you think you're doing to me?
Hey, look, if you think I'd come all the way down here for my health, you're out of your mind.
Sam's dead, okay? He's dead.
Tell her I love her.
He says he loves you.
Sam would never say that.
Ditto. Tell her ditto.
That was ditto. Ditto.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Sent Us podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about movies that shaped their childhood. I'm Sweetie with an IE.
And I'm Sweetie with a Y.
Today, guys, I'm going straight for not beating around the bush. We did Ghost, aka
My love,
my darling.
do.
I've hungered for your touch. I don't really know the lyrics. I'm kind of making probably half
me
of them
neither. Continuing on the trend with The Sixth Sense, we have watched another ghost movie. Also, another fucking scary movie.
Can't give up the ghost.
I'm
Isn't
sorry.
that a
This
song?
is basically a horror movie.
Isn't that some pop song like "Don't
What?
Give Up the Ghost" or something?
I don't know.
No? Anything?
Not
Anybody?
that I'm aware of. But
Anybody?
maybe Katy Perry. I don't know.
I don't know.
Seems like something she would
Don't
do.
give up the ghost, guys.
This movie's terrifying.
It's so scary.
I remembered watching it when I was little and being terrified,
Yes,
and then
yes.
probably never watching it again because I thought, oh no, that's too scary.
Yeah.
Too scary for me.
Interesting, thing about this movie is that it's a combination of three movies in one, right? Because you got romance. It's really a romance at heart. 2, it's really kind of funny. There's a lot of comedic moments. 3, it's scary as fuck. So it's also a horror movie. When
thriller.
Yeah, but that's not a lot of movies that can combine those all really successfully. And they're at each its own strength within the film, I think. To the point, you guys, this was nominated for an Oscar.
Crazy.
Whoopi Goldberg won an Oscar. She was nominated for The Color Purple and did not win. And she won for this movie.
Well, who won that year? Maybe she was up against. I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows?
But and it's also one for screenplay. And I want to say hats off to original screenplays because where the fuck are you? Those don't happen anymore. It sucks. So it's when you see a movie like this that is all original, some guy just sat down and was like, let's write this story about Sam Wheat. And awesome. I mean, I'm just so impressed by original screenplays. Seriously, what was the last one? Fucking Good Will Hunting? No one does original screenplays. They're all by book off of
Get
books now.
Out.
Good, exactly. Great. I applaud that so much. I feel 75% of movies should be original screenplays.
Yeah.
Instead of the flip side where it's maybe 25.
They are there. They have a whole category at the Oscars.
Yeah,
so.
but it is light. It is light with the nominees.
Not really.
Yes, really.
Go back.
Every movie is based off a book.
Well, sure. That's just because that's what we think of. It's easy to spot those ones. I don't know.
Well,
I think
which
we'll
in
pull up a
itself
list.
is
It's not them.
yeah.
There are some.
Yeah.
So simmer down.
Sorry, I just got real fired up
I
about original
know.
screenplay.
My God, I wanted to talk about.
It fires me up. You can talk
the
about whatever you want.
movie.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. So it's weird that So when this movie begins, the opening credits are very scary. You're like in the spooky
What even
warehouse
was
with like
that?
spooky ropes.
Was that the house?
Yeah,
their apartment building.
their apartment, I guess,
Yeah.
which is like half livable, half not. It seems like some of the rooms are like you can have an apartment in. Some of them, it's a derelict factory.
Right. But essentially, there's a jump scare in it. The
in the
credits.
oh my god, yeah, we're just like la la la
Yeah.
la, waiting for the movie,
eating our noodles,
eating
like,
our noodles.
da-di-da.
Wow, I can't wait to watch Ghost. And then there's just like a black screen, and then there's just like dee, and then it's like and we both like jumped out of our skin and like died.
Oh my god! Imagine watching that in the movie theater. You would have like thrown your
Like
popcorn
I
a mile.
did not sign up for this. I
know.
signed up for a romance.
No,
fucking
that's the thing.
movie
Like-
with sexy pottery. I do not
Right.
need these jump scares.
How did they build this movie? I wonder. Like how when the
We should watch the trailer.
Yeah, the trailers. Like how did they frame this movie?
don't
Maybe
know.
there was like a couple different versions of different
always
trailers,
curious.
but yeah, I first remember it sort of as a romance, but definitely same to you. Watching it as a kid,
No,
there are so many
all
terrifying
scary.
moments of this movie that like. I was definitely scarred for life as a kid.
mean,
we'll go into all of
yeah.
those scenes, like
Makes me never
after
wanna
after
die.
the synopsis. But like, whoa! But great film starring our friend, our friend,
our Pat?
he is our Pat.
He is our Pat.
So if you guys have listened to one of our like early episodes, Dirty Dancing, where we started calling Patrick Swayze Pat, and it like totally doesn't fit because he like definitely was not a
we're
Pat.
not sure he
but
was
like
a Pat.
he's a Pat to us,
Yeah.
for sure.
We're always like, oh, Pat.
Yeah.
Like,
It was so good to see Pat. I haven't seen him in forever. No, seriously, for like movie wise, and he looked good in this film.
you
like
were
he
really
was,
smitten.
Oh my
He's
god,
still like too big on top for me that it's like awkward. I don't know.
Totally. But like he was so sweet in his like little investment banker suit, and he like you totally don't believe that he's like an
No,
investment
I
banker
don't
at
at
all.
all.
But it was adorable.
Yeah.
Awesome. Demi Moore. I think she did amazing in this. She's a great actress. You forget that
Her-
woman has skills with the tears.
Her crying game is on
The
point.
crying
Not to be confused
game.
with the crying game.
So apparently she won this role solely by the fact that she could cry on cue out of either eye. They'd be like, Demi, cry out of your right eye only.
It's her thing. Like if you go and watch like all of her movies, she like does it at least in one, like all of them. Like I was watching, and this is not a recommendation. Never watch this movie again in your life. But I was rewatching Charlie's Angels 2.
I thought you were going to say striptease.
No, but I know I have seen that. I don't remember a ton of it, but she probably cries in that.
Mm-hmm.
But Charlie's Angels 2, she has this great, it's a terrible movie, but she has this great scene at the end where Charlie's like, don't do this, Madison. You were good. And she's like, I was never good. And then she turns around to the camera and the single tear rolls down. I was great. And
How
then,
did she do
I don't
it?
know. But like, it made me so jealous. But that movie's terrible, except for that one part. But she always does it. I don't know how. It's just
She's
her skills.
badass.
It's her skills.
She's excellent in this. Great. Not 100% on board with that haircut. I'm just gonna say
0% on board
Apparently,
with it.
like she got cast. Her hair was like super long and luxurious, and then she didn't tell the director she was gonna cut her hair, and then cut it. And she showed up, and they were like, But it fits that character.
Yeah, it's fine.
Artsy
You know
character.
what? Carol had a haircut like that also around this time.
As did
Your
Liz
first
Dumas.
communion. That around that time period.
Liz did too.
It was the thing. It
Yeah.
was the trend.
Yeah. No, I mean, the thing is, Demi Moore is fucking beautiful. She's such a gorgeous woman. You can do anything to that woman. You have a mullet and you'd be like, she's fucking amazing. So it doesn't matter, but like, it's an interesting look for her. And in this, she is an artist. It totally like fits who that character is and everything like that. So I believe it for sure. But yes, Demi Moore as Molly. Love her.
Great. And then Dickie McDickface.
Sick.
What's his real name? I don't care.
Tony Goldwyn.
Shalhoub. Oh. Okay. Well, we hate him. He is now on Scandal. Is he still on Scandal?
No, I think
Scandal's over.
Scandal's
No,
over, but I
Scandal's
think
over.
he didn't even make it to the end. I think something happened with him.
Good. He's the worst. Sweetie and I hate him more
I hate
than
him
like
so
anything
much.
else in this world. When everyone was obsessed with Scandal, Sweetie and I were like, "I'm sorry, guys, I can't get into it. I can't because
could
of
not-
this
and
dick."
like could not root for that couple because first of all it was a bullshit relationship, but also like sick. That guy is disgusting.
See Ghost for more information.
And like I feel bad honestly like when actors take roles like that will. I mean, I don't think like movie studios necessarily like think this, but like us as the viewer can never see like that person in any other role.
Well, it's like when we were
Again.
talking about Kiefer Sutherland, but we
Yes.
don't hate Kiefer Sutherland, and he's a rapist.
Yeah.
You know, like look at it.
There's just something about the situation of this movie and how he was like their friend and then completely like stabbed them all in the back.
I might just hate his face or something.
And his moves are disgusting. And he's just like gross.
We'll talk about it. Wow. But and then of course Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi fucking Goldberg, you guys. Oh my God. I love that woman so much.
I miss like old Whoopi.
I miss acting Whoopi.
Yeah. I miss like not. Is she crazy now? Did I make that up?
She's
on
very,
The View.
She's on The View. She's very political and outspoken about stuff, which is great. Like, you go, girl, do that thing, do your thing. But I do miss, like, this one when she was doing Sister Act, like, all these movies. I mean, she is a freaking gem. Okay, first of all, I did not know this, but, like, she is the star of The Color Purple. Steven Spielberg's Color Purple, that 80s movie. Oprah's in that. She was nominated for that, I think, but didn't win. So she's, like, you know, an actor, and she was pretty young in that. And then I kind of got to be known for more comedic roles, right? Because she's like hilarious. And this is a great combo because there has good moments of each, right? I mean, she's hilarious and is definitely like the comic relief of this film, but also is like amazing. Just in her like dynamic with Sam is almost as important as like his romantic dynamic with Molly. I mean, you had to find two actors who were like going to work well, like in that sense together. So true. And she is, like we said, won the Oscar, and she's so amazing. I love Whoopi in this. It's like my favorite. She's just like, you know, when like you watch a movie and I mean, the phrase "scene stealer" is like not a false thing, guys. Like that. Every time she's on screen in this movie, like all you want to do is like watch her.
Movie stealer. Like she stole the movie.
Yes, yeah. I know.
Not just the scene.
Oh, totally.
In, but like everything.
Oh,
I was like, where's Whoopi?
I know, and it's. I mean, God, I just love to have like that kind of skill. I don't know what it is. Her like charisma or like, and she is a beautiful woman.
So beautiful.
She is like beautiful face,
beautiful.
And I think like she's definitely changed her style over the years, so it's like hard to tell that. But she's fucking hot.
She is.
Go Whoopi, go Whoopi, go
it's your birthday.
Go Whoopi.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice little flick. Let's talk about it. Are you ready?
Awesome. I can't wait to get into this.
I'm ready.
Ghost story. It's time for the sweet synopsis. Yeah.
Sweeties.
Ditto. Quick thing about Ditto. So I looked it up. Large Marge sent us resident researcher.
Large Marge. Sweetie research. Yeah.
Yeah. I like to do research. Ditto, from the Latin, as has been said before. Interesting.
Good one. Good one.
Yeah.
Sam Wheat is an investment banker in New York City. He has just moved into an expansive loft-style studio-style apartment.
Beautiful.
Very
How
big.
many mills do you think that is? It's probably not even that expensive.
Probably not. It's like a loft.
$19.90.
Everything else in that building was shitty, so it's probably really expensive.
Yeah.
Really
Cheap.
inexpensive.
Yeah.
Inexpensive. He lives there with his girlfriend, Molly. They're in love. She's a potter. She makes pottery. He's an investment banker, like I said. They have this annoying third wheel friend named Carl who like won't leave them the fuck alone and always is hanging out with them all
Seriously,
the
it's
time.
like, Carl,
He's like,
get
what are you
some
guys
friends.
doing tonight?
Other friends.
Oh, you want me to come over and do like shirtless demoing on your house? Like, cool. I'll be right there.
That part was, you know, it's funny. Like, we always think about how, like, gratuitous stuff for, like, women, you know? Like, oh, okay, why did they have to do this, like, boob shot? Why did they have to do this panty shot? This is kind of an amazing role reversal of, like, gratuitous, bare-chested men. Because they both have, like, pretty good bodies. And they do this, like, demolition scene. They're, like, breaking open the wall between their apartment and something else or whatever. And Patrick Swayze, both Pat and gross, disgusting Tony Goldwyn have their fucking shirts off. And you're like, who demos without their shirt off? First of all,
dangerous.
Fucking dangerous. Like, you could get impaled by something. And I guess if you had a shirt, like, you would still be impaled. But I mean, like, stuff coming down and scratching you. You don't like want that
It
shit
just
on your
seems
bare
like
skin.
Cooking without a shirt on.
There's probably like
not
lead,
wise.
whatever, in the walls, and it's all like going to be on your
Probably
skin and all
asbestos.
itchy.
There's probably a lot of asbestos.
Yes, that's what I meant. Asbestos.
But yeah, so that's interesting. So they have like a nice little bromance happening, blah, blah, blah. So
He works at the bank too.
Right. So here's this thing like with the bank. I don't get it. Sweetie, explain the bank accounts and the whole kerfuffle
I knew you were
there.
going to get this, and I was going to pause the movie when we were watching it and be like, should I explain this to you before we do this? Because I don't want another like Top Gun episode where you're like, I don't get this. All right, so they're investment bankers, right? So basically what Carl has done is that he has worked with, let's say, who even knows who they are, mobsters, whatever.
Okay, I wasn't sure if we knew or not. That's what I was
You don't
confused about.
really know. So they have been money. He has been helping, let's say, some mob scene launder money, and has been putting it like, you know, in other accounts. I think, right. So that's why when Sam like looks at the books one day, he's like, "There's way too much money in this account," and Sam's like trying to figure it out. And then okay, so then we'll go into
Okay.
we'll explain more later.
So Carl's like, oh shit, he found out my secret plan. This sucks. So he's like, what are you guys doing tonight? And he's like, Pat's like, oh, we're going to see Macbeth. Molly wants to see Macbeth. Do you want to come? Like, don't fucking invite him. This is a date night. Molly doesn't want fucking Carl to come.
You have to admit, Sam was like the nicest fucking
Did he have the
guy.
hots for Carl? Like, calm
No,
down.
Sam was just so.
What about the end when he got
so
all like
nice.
happy and he was like, my friend, I'm sad.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
what?
that's what I'm saying. Sam is way too
Or
nice.
was he in love with him? Like, what?
No, he was. Oh my god, how obsessed were him and Molly with each other?
I know. I'm just dubious. Eternally dubious. That's my middle name. So they go to the play. They're walking home, you know, on the streets of New York City, circa 1990, late 80s. It was a scary place. If you recall from Big, wow, you guys, don't go there, especially at night after a show. That's when it always happens. It always happens
I don't know
after a
what
show.
you're like. Let's walk down this deserted alley
Yeah.
home. Let's take
Like,
the shortcut.
What? Take a cab. You're an investment banker. Like, what is this shit? So they pass this like sketchy guy in the doorway. He maybe has the scariest face you've ever seen on a human being in your life. You look at that guy and you're like, that is a bad guy.
Yeah.
That is a really bad guy. Also has like a curly Jerry curl mullet, which is like doesn't help. Like, did he use Soul Glow? That's what I want to know.
No, he's terrifying.
But terrifying. So he like holds him up, and then there's a scuffle, and oops.
Because he hits so the thing is like he hit Molly because I think she tried to get in the way, and that's like what sets Sam off, because again he's like super nice and his number one goal is like to protect Molly and love Molly no matter what. So that actually ended up getting into trouble, because I think this really was just supposed to be a mugging, and then it got escalated, and they're you know wrestling with the gun, and it goes off.
That's exactly what happened.
And he gets shot like pretty much directly in the in the heart.
We think so. It seemed to happen very quickly.
And then kind of
He did.
cut scene, and then you just see him like running after the guy, and so you're like, oh, he's fine, but then you're like, oh no, his body is on the ground.
not
Molly
fine.
is cradling it, and she's covered in blood. He dead. He real dead.
He did, you guys.
He's a
Sam
ghost.
is dead. He's a ghost now.
Yeah.
He's all upset. And then, like, the light opens up, and it's like, come to us, Sam, to the afterlife. And he's like, no. And then it's now a musical.
Yeah.
And he...
Ghost the musical would be amazing.
There
They should
probably
make
is one. I
that.
bet there was one. There's, like, a musical of everything. Speaking of, more original musicals, guys.
Yes.
Less musicals
Yes.
based on
Thank
things.
you. See, it's
You
a
just said
horrible
Ghost the
trend.
musical would be great.
Well, yes,
You're a
but-
liar. Anyways, so he doesn't want to pass over, so he stays as a ghost. You know, he's got unfinished business. So
Yeah, who the
he's
fuck killed me?
Now needs to adjust to his ghost life, which he finds very disconcerting because he can't touch things. He's like, what the fuck is this? Difficult to get through doors, tricky. Meets a couple other ghosts at the hospital. It's like nice old man ghost, gives him like a little rundown of like how things are. He sees some other ghosts at his funeral. It's like an interesting community, the ghost community.
Yeah.
Because you're like, why didn't that person want to pass on? Why didn't that person
And I
want to
find that
pass
interesting
on?
about this movie that they don't explain any of that, which is kind of cool because you have to kind of just
Well,
think in your own
Oda
head.
Mae
like-
kind of says it like some ghosts are just pulled from this world so abruptly that they want to stay because they don't feel they're ready to
right,
go.
which I think is like a trend in the ghost world. But like the old man in the hospital, do you think like he just like was waiting for his wife kind of a thing, and that's why he didn't want to go?
Sounded like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. So now let's see. So he's hanging out at Molly's at his house with Molly, you know, whatever. Carl's coming over all the time now, being like super sketchy and is like doing shitty things, like spilling coffee on his shirt.
Oh, but that's later.
Okay, so that's
But
later.
he's starting
but
easy
he's like
now.
he's starting to move in, and Sam's like, "What is this? This is ridiculous."
Yep.
And then he comes over one day and takes Molly for a walk. Meanwhile, fucking Willie Lopez, Sketchy McSketchster,
AKA the murderer.
murderer, comes into the loft and is like looking for shit. And he's like, "What is this? What are you doing here?" And then he knows that it wasn't just an accident, you guys. He was set up and murdered.
Yep.
Wow. Big revelation.
Right. So he's like, I got to do something about this now because, again, like, he's really just being like, I think Molly's going to be in trouble because he thinks it's connected. I don't know. He's kind of thinks it's connected to her.
He's
somehow.
in her house. So
yeah.
you know.
So he gets this brilliant idea. He's like walking around downtown and he sees
he
like
follows Willie Lopez.
he follows
to
Willie
his
Lopez.
house.
Yeah, and then he finds out he has Sam's wallet and he hears him talking on the phone to somebody about how like he broke into the Molly's apartment and blah blah blah.
I thought he was looking for Sam's wallet, but he couldn't find it. Why was he breaking into the apartment?
Because the codes or whatever.
Oh, the codes weren't in his
the
wallet.
little ad. Weren't they in the little address
little black
book?
book
Right, which Molly like had.
Okay.
So he's walking around downtown. He sees this like storefront for Oda Mae Brown, like spiritual communicator or something like that. Whatever, essentially psychic. And he's like, "Ooh, brilliant idea," which is like pretty smart.
He's so smart.
Yeah.
He's an investment banker, so like,
Yeah, I mean,
smart.
it makes sense.
He has his own office, so like, he's pretty smart.
Yeah. Oh my god, he did. And Carl was like a little shit. He
was a
didn't
jock.
have his own office.
Yeah, he was the worst.
Oh,
He was
that's
like-
why when he was like,
his assistant.
I didn't get my own accounts.
Yeah.
Oh, it was his boss. Oh my god, it makes it even shittier.
So
Anyway,
shitty.
so he goes into this psychic place and he's watching Oda Mae Brown, who's Whoopi Goldberg, do like her thing. So there's this woman who's trying to contact her husband, and Sam's kind of watching the whole thing. And as those things kind of go, total scam, right? Like Whoopi, like Oda Mae doesn't know like anything about this guy, can't connect to anybody, and she's just like basically like spitballing, trying to guess like anything that'll connect to this woman to convince her that she's talking to her dead husband. And Sam starts making these like kind of comments like, what a crock of shit. Like, what? This is a scam. And Oda Mae can hear him. So his whole plan actually worked. Like she actually can't, even though she is kind of scammy, she does have this sort of like the gift, you know, they call it, that you can communicate with the spirit world. So he's like, I got to use this woman to help me out and get, you know, word to Molly, like what the situation is and she's in danger and stuff like that. So initially, so Oda Mae can't see him, but she can hear him. And she's like, get away. Like, I don't want to help you, and refuses to until he just sits in her apartment and sings songs all night to her to convince her to.
I'm Henry VIII. I am I'm Henry VIII. Henry
the 8th I am. Sings that song like all night. So I guess they had called Molly actually before that, and she just hung up because obviously like, oh, I have a message from your dead boyfriend. Like, pass. So Oda Mae actually goes to her apartment. And the great thing is like Sam can like tell her all this shit that only Sam and Molly would know. So that's very convincing when you're trying to convince somebody like, okay, I can be able to speak to your dead boyfriend, right? Mm-hmm. And she goes up there and is like, listen, like, Molly, you're in trouble. My death was definitely someone killed me. Like, I was murdered. Like, you got to go to the police. I know who the killer is. I mean, she gives her a lot of information, right?
Yeah. And tells her a lot of things that only Sam would know. So you'd think that Molly would be like 100% convinced. But she goes to the police station, and the fucking dick cop is like, yeah, I'll look up the file on Willie Lopez. But instead, looks up the file on Oda Mae, which is like rude, so rude. And of course, she has a record because she used to be like a scam artist. I mean, she still was, but like, whatever. This is for real, okay? It's not a scam. And then Molly's like, oh, you're right. I fell for it. She's obviously scamming me, even though she knew all this crazy shit about Sam that no one else knows.
Right.
Like, put it together. Ugh. So she forgets that idea, and then Sam's like, damn it, let's try something else. So meanwhile, in between, Sam's like, I gotta learn how to like move things. He like goes, talks to this like scary subway ghost, and he learns how to move things. So now he can move things, which is very useful. And then he sees like a poster for like this bank that his friend, or like not his friend, or like something. So why does he see that poster at the bank, and he's like, oh.
Who was on that poster?
It was the bank that
it was
he
his
goes
bank
to.
he works at,
No,
right?
it was it was the bank that Lyle Ferguson worked at, I think.
Oh, that was a different bank?
I think
no,
so.
that was his bank. That's why he knew that guy. So I don't know like why that made him think of that.
I don't get banks. I don't get how there's like a bank and then like a bank that people sit at behind desks and like do work at.
This was like some
It's
investment
confusing.
bank, or it might have been even a real bank. I don't know. So he like goes and figures out like what the deal is with the money in Carl, because he follow Carl.
Yeah, Carl shows up to
like
Willie
Willie Lopez's
and is like,
house.
"Who are you talking to?" Because Molly was like, "This lady came and told me that like someone named Willie Lopez killed him."
So then he knows that Carl's the one who like set him up,
Yeah.
or like didn't mean to have him
He said,
be murdered.
He's like, I got $4 million across like 3 different accounts.
Yeah.
Like, I need to get blah, blah, blah. Like, so he tells him. So then at work, Carl's like, blah, 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 Rita Miller.
Someone calls him. So like the mobster, let's say, calls him and is like, hey, we need all of the money that you've laundered for us. And like Carl was going to get a cut. He was going to get like $80,000. So he's doing this obviously for like selfish reasons. And this mobster guy is like, okay, put all the money in this account under the name Rita Miller. We're going to pick like that. We'll pick it up. And then transfer that to the Bank of Nassau. So he basically like make this fake account under the name Rita Miller. And then on whatever, Thursday at 4:00, transfer it to this Bank of Nassau account. Here's the number. Mm-hmm. So he was going to do that whole thing. So that's how that they were going to like kind of move the money around. But because like Pat is like following around Carl all over the place.
Sam. Pat
AKA
is
Sam. He's like he hears all this, hears the Rita Miller thing, knows the account number. So he's like, I'm going to fucking fuck this guy up. I'm going to screw him 25 ways, right? Mm-hmm. Like, this is over for you.
So he gets Oda Mae to get like a fake license with Rita Miller and goes to the bank with her, like walks her through the thing, like whispers the account number. She signs everything. They do it. They get a cashier's check for the $4 million. And then he makes her give it to the nuns, which she's really sad about. But he like doesn't want them to trace it to her. So it has to be done. Yeah. So the money's gone now. And Carl's freaking out. And he's like, where the fuck is the money? And he's like trying to figure it out. And then Sam starts like moving shit and spooking him and like typing on his computer and like really freaking him the fuck out. So Carl's losing it. Yeah. He's losing it. He gets Willie. They're like, let's go kill Oda Mae Brown because she obviously has the money. So they go there. She runs away. Willie...
He like
flips the fuck out because now Sam is doing crazy things to him and touching things and writing like boo on the mirror, which really put him over the edge. And he runs outside into traffic and he's dead. Oof. However, when he dies, the bad angels come and he gets taken away to hell, I guess, which is very scary. We'll talk about it. So now it's just Carl and he's even crazier than before. Oda Mae runs to Molly and is like, they're coming for us. Like, you have to run, blah, blah, blah. And then Carl comes, they run. There's a love scene before that, but like, we'll talk about it. And then Carl's like very violent.
He has a gun.
He has a gun. It's bad. And then, Sam saves them and like uses his ghost power to like hurt him and punch him, and then he flies into like this window which breaks and then a large shard goes right to his heart. Carl's dead. He's real dead. And if you thought he was going to the heaven, then you are wrong. The bad angels also come for him and he's gone. Later, Carl. And then,
probably like a week before that, he probably would have gone to heaven. That's the crazy
who knows
thing.
how long he was doing all this shit for?
Yeah,
Maybe
I mean, he
like
probably was a sketchy dude, like no matter what.
Obviously, he had questionable morals.
Yeah. So Carl's dead, so bye-bye. And then, at this point, the unfinished business is finished. Because basically Sam stuck around to make sure Molly was okay, and she's okay. And they figured out, who the killer was, and that whole part is over. So all of a sudden the light comes back. And, they're like, Sam,
nice to know.
You ditched us before, but we're here for you. We're coming back for you. And at this point, Molly can see him and hear him for the first time as the light is kind of coming to take him. And he finally tells her, there's this really nice scene, actually right before he dies, where she's, whenever they say, she goes, I love you. And he always says ditto. He never says, I love you back. And that really hurt her. And she tells him this. And she's like, why do you always say ditto? And he's like, well, everyone says I love you. It doesn't mean anything. Like, that actually means something to me. And she's like, but sometimes I just need to hear you say like the actual words. So he never actually did tell her, it sounds like, I love you. But right before he gets taken away by the angels, he says, I've always loved you, Molly. Beautiful seed.
And she says
ditto. And she says ditto this time. Oh my God. Such good writing. I fucking love that.
And that's it.
No surprise to anybody. I cried.
And then he gets beamed up and it's done. It's over. Ta-da.
And he's like, there's so much love here, Molly. It's amazing. And basically he was just like such a great guy with so much love that it just basically he just rode that cloud all the way up to heaven. Go Sam.
And now is the time we always ask, did they make it?
Did they make it, guys?
No. But did Molly and Oda Mae make it? Maybe.
I hope they stayed
they
friends.
had a little, maybe there's something more. They had a little lesbian connection.
No.
I don't know.
I think they stayed friends because they both would have had that Sam connection. I'm just interested in like what Molly's talks were with like future boyfriends when she was like, so like, what's your past dating experience? Well, so like my ex-boyfriend got murdered and then he came back and like saved my life and then I saw him get like dragged away by the angels.
I'm not gonna tell anyone. God.
I mean, how can like you come back from, like how can you date anybody else? I
Maybe
think
she won't.
Okay, I think how we summarize her like future is that I don't think she was able ever to find anybody like Sam again. I think she's just a spinster
You don't
artist.
think she becomes a lesbian?
I think she's just like
it's all set up.
She just
waiting.
is a spinster artist, like making pottery dedicated to like Pat Swayze. Yeah, I mean,
Dedicated to Pat.
Yep.
Wow. Sad. Okay. Well, if that's how you want to envision it, I think she lives a glorious life. But
she probably owns
just
that.
me.
You know that pottery store down the road that's like you can like throw your own pot, like throw your own pottery.
It's like here?
It's called like Muddy Buddies or something.
Paint your own pottery
no,
studio? She created
no,
the
it's called
name.
like the Mud House or something. I don't even know. I pass it all the time, and I'm like, this is weird. They have like pottery classes there.
Okay. Yeah. She runs
BT
that.
Dubs pottery is really hard.
I know.
Wheel
you
throwing.
took wheel throwing.
I took wheel throwing in high school. It was so hard.
It was not like Ghost.
I mean, if you're a professional artist, you like, clearly know what you're doing, and that it takes a lot of skill. But like just like as an amateur artist, as I was. I wouldn't even say amateur. I'd say like 20 below amateur. It was so hard. I could barely make like one lopsided mug. And then for the mugs, you have to like make the handle and then just kind of paste it on. It always looks kind of funky.
It always does.
I made one bowl and I got a B+. What am I going to do?
Hey, you took a lot of like art classes.
Oh, I took a ton. I took printmaking. I took sculpture.
Were you good in any of them?
No, but it was awesome. Like an awesome time to spend like whatever were blocks, like 90
Remember
minutes
you made
long.
me be your model when you took photography, and I had to
I
do,
did
like,
photography.
weird
Yes.
shit.
Oh, I did. I think I did almost all of the art classes. I took
Yeah.
drawing.
You crazy.
I was not bad at drawing.
Look at this girl.
Yeah.
She's creative. But yeah, so really great movie. Really enjoyed it. Really brought me back to being a child. And really all the scenes that I remembered as being scary turns out still scary.
Really scary.
I was like, good. I wasn't irrational
Oh
for
my
those
God.
fucking death hell
and
angels.
when you're little, it's like 20
Oh my
times as
God.
scary.
So this movie did a couple things. It made me afraid to die because I did not want
Join the
those.
club.
I did not want those black, scary, hooded death angels to come and get me and take me away. No, thank you. It also gave me a reoccurring nightmare that I was at the movie theater, and you know how the movie theater has like some like older movie theaters, not the stadium ones. So, well, I guess they still do. But there's 2 exit doors at like the very front of the theater, like under the screen. So when I was little, I used to envision that like those scary black death angels would like come out of there and like take people and then like bring them back through the door, and then they'd like take me away from mom and dad, and I'd be like, no. It was a real fear. And tonight it just solidified that, and now I'm going to have those nightmares all over again because that is some scary shit, let me tell you. Wow, wow, wow. And it doesn't help that, so whenever the death angels come, the hell, what are they called? Like the dark angels?
yeah.
They're like little shadows, and then they come out of like the depths of the earth and are like, it's like these terrifying noise, which Sweetie informs me was created by
Crying babies slowed down, like
Okay.
really, really slowed down.
Who knew?
But it's like an undescribable noise. Like there's no like
I heard a noise like that one time when my ghost experience,
Yeah.
where I was like sleeping, and then I heard like a weird noise.
almost like a slow cat cry.
It could have been a
kind
cat,
of.
but I think it was a ghost.
Okay.
Because I heard like people talking and stuff. But terrifying.
The cool thing about the dark angels too is that they like come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So they're like shadows on the ground that then turn into the dark angels.
And I feel like you can't decide not to cross over if the dark angels come
Right.
for you. So
Well,
there's no. So that would mean that there's no like bad
Bad
ghosts, which is comforting.
yeah.
But in all those horror movies about bad ghosts, you're like, is that real? Probably not.
But isn't it like mostly ghosts being like kind of like the angry guy in the subway who's like clearly not a bad person, but like
They're just
was
angry.
just
They're
angry
not gonna hurt you.
about
They
being
don't
dead.
mean to hurt you.
They're angry about being dead, right? And some people are more angry than others. Some people
Right.
aren't angry,
Yeah.
and they're just waiting and they're very peaceful. But some are like, yeah,
So
pretty
that
angry.
Brings me to my next fear, which is the subway ghost. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy is terrifying. He's in a bunch of other movies. He just has like one of the weird, like most unique looks I've ever seen. So he's a big character actor. He's in like Tim Burton movies.
Yep.
He's in Batman Returns.
Vincent
or Batman.
Scavalli,
Batman
I think his name is.
Yeah. But when I was little, I was like, okay, and never riding on the subway in case there's that guy in his black pea coat.
It's the coat. Honestly, if he was in any other outfit, he would be 20 times less scary. It is that coat and his hair, his like curly hair, kind of parted down this like on the side.
And he's like such an like he's so angry, which is very scary. And he is like he's still like mentally ill even as a ghost. And he like that whole part at the end like
so
is very weird.
Yeah, it's so
odd. He gets like confused. He like doesn't remember Pat. Or does he? I don't know. But then he's like, someone pushed me. I wasn't depressed. But was he?
You don't like know what happened to him.
I think we need a two-parter here. Ghost 2, what's the deal with the subway ghost? I need to know more.
Subway ghost.
But yeah, that scene scarred me definitely for life. And then finally, the third thing that scarred me for life was the ending scene where Carl gets killed by the window. And wow. That's some graphic shit. Was this movie rated R?
PG-13.
What?
I know.
Okay. There's like R-rated movies that don't have as much level of like gore as that.
Yes.
And like this is really the only piece of gore. Well, not really. There's other blood.
There's some bloodied like faces.
This like it doesn't like the camera stays on him when that glass goes into the heart and you see it and like the red goes everywhere. Wow.
What a way to die.
Really, I know. Also irrational fear of big windows, right? Like, never go under a big window.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Don't do it.
And they do, like, a great job of, once you've seen it before, and you know, like, that's how Carl's going to die. There's, like, a great foreshadowing of when, like, Molly and Oda Mae go through that window, and it kind of falls down really fast after them, without them having to push it down. And you're like, uh-oh. You're like, that's not going to be good later. And then, yeah, it breaks, and then it's just, like, just the right moment, and he's, like, stuck in the window, and it goes right through him. Oh, man. But, like, fabulous ending for a fucking shitty person, right?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
But terrifying. But, yeah, scared the bejesus out of me. Any other scary moments?
And I would say the death of Willie Lopez is really scary, too.
That's the first time we see the death angels.
Yeah, so that's why, and just like kind of how much he like freaks out about it, you know, because it's interesting when the ghosts first die, they don't really know what's happening, and almost like that is really terrifying too, because you can imagine like you think you can see stuff, so you like, and then obviously what freaks them out is when they see their own dead body. You know, they're outside of themselves.
Did you see the adaptation of The Lovely Bones?
No.
This is actually like very similar to that, where like you think she's like gets away and like runs out of the thing, but then she sees herself like not. So sad, but yeah, I like how they did it too. Just like because it looks like they're okay, and they like start getting up, and you're like, oh. And then
even the Willie one, I was like, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I thought he died, and he like gets up, but then you remember he's like stuck between the two cars, and it's just that rational, like that realization that you're like, oh shit, I'm dead, is like the scare, and the actors do a great job of like portraying that kind of real terrifyingness. And then obviously for those poor suckers not going to a great place. Wonder what happens down there.
Oh, right? Terrifying. Nothing good, I'll tell you that much. Although, my personal theory is that it's actually a fun party, and they just don't want a lot of people to, like, want to go. Because they can't, there's, like, you know, a capacity level, like, here. So they, like, pretend it's terrible, but when you get there, they're like, all right, yeah.
For doing bad things. That's
all right, you're right. Whatever. I'm just trying to make myself feel better so that, like, whatever happens, if the death angels come, if the good angels come, like, I'll be okay.
I mean, out of your control in a way, but not really. Just don't do bad things.
I don't think the death angels will come for me, because if that mean guy in the subway didn't get taken by the death angels, like, I am probably fine. Like, he seemed to have a lot of bad things happening in his life.
Right.
I think we're okay. We're okay. But you know what's really fucking sad is when Pat Swayze died, and they would always show that clip of him as a ghost in the light. Mm-hmm. That was really fucking sad. Did you get really fucking sad?
Wait, which part?
The end, when he finally sees the light, and he like his face is all glowing.
Yes.
Ugh, just
are you kidding me? I was crying hysterically.
You were crying because of the mood, like of the moment of him going. I'm talking about like when the real Pat Swayze died. They were like playing that clip all the time, and then you like think of it now when you're watching it, like he is dead now, and then it's just like so
that makes me really sad.
I know, that's what I said. I was like, do you know what's something fucking sad? Okay, fine. We won't talk about it anymore. I don't want you to be sad. You talk about something quick.
Okay. Let's talk about how. Okay, so obviously for Sixth Sense, we talked about like everyone's different concepts of ghosts. So you had that one, which is similar in the sense that there's like ghosts walking around wanting to communicate with somebody, and they communicated with like Haley Joel Osment, and he could see them though. Mm-hmm. So this one is like saying that, kind of like Sweetie said before, there's ghosts around. They're here because they either have unfinished business or they're not ready to cross over, which is also a little bit of like poltergeist-y kind of theme too, right? But the concept here is that ghosts are just walking around among us all the time and we can't see it. There's only a few people who can't see them but can hear them, who have this like extra gift. And then if you, I guess, learn how to do the movements, that Sam learns from the subway ghost, then you can kind of like
make things
move. But that's like an interesting way to, I guess, think about like ghosts, right? That it's only about movements. You can't see them ever. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I always assumed that was.
Do you think it's more that than than you could see them?
Because it's like an energy thing. I don't know.
That's what I think too. Yeah. So I think this one is like a good ghost theory. Mm-hmm. There's just so many ghost theories out there.
Yeah. I'm a little dubious of the ghost power that he has to like move stuff, because
I love ghost power.
I know, but it's
ghost
like
power.
But it like goes away when he goes in someone's body, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm weak," and then he can't do. I don't know. And sometimes that's
wouldn't that make sense though? Because he like used all his energy like touching Molly and so that he uses that energy to move things. So it was just like he was just on empty for a little bit. If you think of it like a ghost gas tank, and he's like, "Oh my god, like I went to empty because I was like filling up my old girlfriend," and then he's like, "Oh shit, I gotta like get the storage up."
Ghost gas tank, cool. Writing in the idea book,
ghost gas tank. Oh, I have another business. We'll talk about my other business concept later.
Great. Yeah, the one thing I did not remember that is really random that just like really kind of bothered me. Like I love everything about this movie except for a couple things, and one of them is the beginning when he can't go through the door, or when he does go through doors. It shows this like inner space, like red blood cells like action, and it's like so weird,
totally,
and it's like
necessary.
A rush of something, and it's trying to tell you something about what he feels when he's going through a door, but it doesn't really work. Like, what is that saying? What is that? What am I supposed to get out of that?
Well, you had the subway ghost say like you don't have a body anymore, it's like only your mind is here. So I don't understand like why there's like red blood cells involved, like splitting the atom trying to like get through this fucking door. That part was like totally unnecessary.
Only do it twice.
They do it twice, so it's
and
not
then
consistent.
It's like he's over the doors, so he doesn't care anymore, and it's gone.
What do you think of like the effects in that like sense?
So they're not great, and like yes, it's super cheesy, like when they were carrying away Carl at the end, and he was like, "Whoa!" And he just like looked like
demon ghost piggyback.
He looked like a little. He looked like a little blob, just like floating away. That was silly, but it's like at this point, because the movie doesn't rely on those special effects, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not like a critical component. It's just like a little part of it. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
What about the noise it makes when he like tries to touch things? It's like shoo, shoo, shoo.
Oh yeah,
the noise that always bugged me.
It's a very like 80s noise. Yes. Like they have it just like on a keyboard ready.
Two keyboard buttons.
Yeah, that makes it.
Ghost setting.
Good one. Yeah, 80s ghost noise. Noise. Yeah. So there's a few like 80s things, but for the most part, it's not. It doesn't do anything to the movie to prevent, I think, people from enjoying it.
Oh yeah, no, it didn't stand out as being like, oh, this looks so cheesy. Okay, so most people have seen this movie, right? Hands down, if you've never seen this movie, you know this scene. Like I've told people we're going to do this, and they're like, I'm like, have you ever seen it? And they're like, no, but I know the pottery scene. So the pottery scene is huge. So I was confused because I thought it happened at the end with when Sam. And you do find out that Oda Mae, like this has happened to her before, where spirits can jump into her body and they can use her basically as like a, what do you call that? Like a host
vessel,
like yeah, and touch through her, right? Because they can't ghosts can't touch other people. Like Sam can move things, but he can't like touch really people. So there's a scene kind of at the end where he jumps into Oda Mae's body and he's able to have like some moments with Molly. They like slow dance and he might like kiss her or something like that. But the big scene in the beginning, what made this movie like super famous, was that Molly is a potter, and she can't sleep one night, so she's like she's pottering, wheel throwing downstairs, and Sam comes upon her and is like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, I couldn't sleep," and she's like not wearing any pants and is like wheel throwing, and he comes up behind her and he's like trying to help her do the pottery, and it ruins it.
Is he shirtless?
Yeah, I think so, right? So. Yeah. And so he's like, "Oh no, I ruined your pot."
Yeah, what a dick. Like,
she was making this like beautiful tall urn, and he's just like, "Oh, I ruined your pot. Sorry. Hope that didn't take you long."
What?
Like,
total Pat move.
But really he just wanted to get in her pants. So they have this like love scene, and they have this like jukebox sort of style record player that puts on, of course, Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers. Okay. Really, really famous song and very romantic. And they have this beautiful love scene with the pottery, like using the pottery and like having their hands both on it. And it's very like seductive. Yeah, it's pretty sexy.
Pantless pottery.
Yeah, pantless pottery, which brings me to my business concept for today. Sweetie business ideas. Yeah. It will be called, as you said, Pantsless Pottery for Couples, and it's to get the love back in your relationship. And what's going to happen is like everyone is in a room. I can't decide if it's going to be a public or private thing.
Public? What?
And you don't have any pants on, and you just do pottery with your lover, and it's just the Righteous Brothers song played like on a loop, like, "Oh my love, my darling, I've hungered, I need your love."
So a few things. If you worked there, you would want to kill yourself because you have to listen to that song all day, every day, over and over again. You'd be like my own personal hell. And then you'd have to see people. Would people be having sex? Like, I feel like this is not allowed.
I think
to, like,
sex
just
would not be involved, but there would be sex rooms that if you wanted to take it off of the pottery wheel, that you would like could go into a room.
Sex rooms? Just go home. Like, you pay your money, you're out.
All right, Mr. and Mrs. Anderson.
Here's another thought. What if you're a single lady and you want a Pat Swayze behind you?
Okay,
can you get a stand-in?
You can rent Pat Swayze's. That would be amazing. There's like lookalikes.
What if your husband is gross and you just want a Pat Swayze?
You can also do that.
Okay,
you just don't. You don't invite your husband.
Behind that. I think we can remove the couple element from it and just have it be a place where women or men can come and have a Pat Swayze.
Or if you are a straight man and you want Demi Moore, we could have like Demi Moore people.
Okay, maybe. I like just the Pat.
Okay.
I like just
you
Pat.
Want this like women
it's only for gay men and women.
Okay.
I'm
into this. All right. Yeah. See, this is the thing about these sweetie business ideas. We really just got to like talk them out.
Talk it out.
Because in my my ideas are strong, but like the details, the devil is in the details, right? And you can help me work through that.
This is why we're successful business partners.
Know. Okay, man, that's a successful one. We're adding that with the Sweetie, the movie store.
Woo! Cha-ching!
AKA Blockbuster.
Sweetie Blockbuster, yeah. Okay, so should we talk about the love scene?
Yeah.
So the end, Oda Mae's like, fine. She sees like the love that these two people have for each other, and she's like, all right, fine, you can use my body. And I don't know what she was like what was going to happen, the ultimate end goal here. Like, was it going to be sex? Could that even, like, I don't know. Sweetie here thought they did have sex, and I was like, I don't think they had sex because that'd be really
again,
awkward.
I thought that the pottery scene happened then, and she did the pottery scene with Whoopie Goldberg, and I was like, whoa,
okay. No, because in my head I was like, but like, how is that going to end? Like, they're naked. She wakes up naked in the bed, and then Oda Mae's like, I'm naked. Like,
that also seemed like a dubious time to be doing that sort of thing. We're waiting for the killer, so what can we do? Let's make out.
But it is funny so they do a thing where they like, it starts with Whoopi's hands, but then it like shows it's Pat, and Sweetie was like confused about it, I think, in your Sweetie head for a little while. You were like, wait, but because the way that, but maybe this was how you saw it when you were little.
Yeah.
You were confused because it showed it as Patrick Swayze and not Whoopi. So you were like, oh, it's okay because it's not Whoopi.
Yes.
You're like, it changed into Pat. Like, did you think she like morphed into his body and that Demi was seeing his body? Yeah, that's not what happened, and it's funny if you think about it.
So she's kissing Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
100%. Because when they pull away, when they hear a noise, like it's Whoopi.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just interesting. It's an interesting concept,
but it's really so he can feel her. But like Molly would like would she know that was like him touching her? Really though, not really. I don't think.
It's like woman's hands. And
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, it's sweet and it's like it's nice the way that they do it, but
Yeah.
confusing
It's
for a
just kinda-
6-year-old.
and
I will
it's
say.
kind of creepy. I think it's creepy, and I mean, like, props to Oda Mae for allowing them
Yeah.
to use her body, but like, don't just like lease your body out for people to use like that. It just made me
Right.
feel a little uncomfortable. But oh well. And that's the love scene.
Yeah.
But
My favorite game. Hey, it's that guy. Hey, it's that guy. Totally didn't know. Police detective played by Stephen Root, aka Stapler guy from The Office.
Good
Also, great role in Barry
and Get Out.
and Get Out.
Yeah.
What is he in Get Out?
The bad guy.
The camera guy, the blind camera
Yeah.
guy. Oh yeah, yeah. Stephen Root guy. So didn't know. He's the dick cop.
Dick
You know,
a lot
doesn't-
of dicks. A lot of dicks in this movie.
Yeah,
I'll tell
a
you.
lot of dicks.
A lot of fucking
Fuck.
dicks. Dicks.
Made this joke when we were watching this. Sam's last name is Wheat. Sam Wheat. And I was like, I have a gluten allergy, aka allergic to wheat. And I thought, wouldn't that be crazy if I married someone named Sam Wheat and I became like Emily Wheat, but I can't eat wheat?
It'd be ironic.
It would be so ironic. I have to change to Emily Wheat free.
Like hyphenated.
Yes.
Cool. Sweet business plan right there.
Oh my
Sweetie
god!
idea, but
I gotta find my own Sam Wheat. Damn, whose last name is Wheat? Why did
call
they
us.
choose that?
Call us. It's so weird.
It's weird.
It's really weird, and it's funny because the priest at the funeral says it like in the Will Wheaton way, and it's like so great. It's classic. Is that how you're supposed to say it?
I
Like
don't know. Why
WH
is his name Wheat? That's weird.
I don't know. It's stupid.
And like it's wheat. Like I could almost see if it was spelled differently, like WEIT or something. I don't know, or WEIT.
Yeah.
But like that it's spelled like the actual like grain of wheat. It just really throws me off.
Wait, WEIT?
Yeah.
That's
What?
That says wheat.
Couldn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Or WEAT?
Okay, there you go.
Wheat.
Probably. Yeah.
Like why even
Sam
have the
Wheat.
H in there?
Yeah, because it looks stupid.
It's so dumb. Sam
I
Wheat.
mean, it looks dumb both ways,
Yeah.
but whatever. Okay, so back to Carl. So this scene makes no sense to me. And at first, I thought he was doing this so that he would have a diversion to go look for the little black book. Turns out, no. He just wanted to take his shirt off. So he's like coming over to Molly's, and they have some coffee or tea or whatever. And then she like turns around to get something more like milk. And he's like splashes his tea on his shirt, and he's like, "Oh no, I can't believe I did that! Oh my god, I'm so clumsy!" And then like takes off his shirt. She's like, "Do you want me to put that in the wash?" He's like, "No." And he like throws it to the side, and it's just like hanging out with no shirt on. What?
Okay, so I don't know if it's like Carl is delusional and he's like, oh my God, I have like a hot bod and like this is gonna like make Molly like totally like get with me, or he just wanted to change the dynamic of the mood so they like could make out, and if he like took his shirt off, it would be easier to do
Yes.
that.
I've honestly never heard of somebody
Me
doing that.
neither.
And I don't know. I'm just, if that happened to me, I'd be like, do you want my ex-husband's bowling shirt?
It was
all
so
now and then.
strange.
But it was like really weird.
That guy sucks so
much.
bad.
I hate him so much. And then also there's this weird part in the beginning when they're in the elevator together and they like pull this gag where they pretend that Carl is sick and that he can't touch people, and they're like, "Oh, are you still sick?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm really contagious. I can't touch people." And he like touches the guy
and
in
then,
front
or
of
he's
him.
coughing, and then he has like
He's
a
talking
fungus in
about,
his
like, a
crotch
rash,
or something.
Like,
Yeah.
and Sweet and I were like, "Are they doing that to like get rid of some guy they hate?"
Yeah.
But no.
Or like make space in the elevator because it was really crowded and they
Well, no
wanted
one was
more
getting
room.
off.
But I think it's just supposed to show that they were like friends and they would do these jokes and they had this
Okay.
like little.
I think that for the most
rapport.
part, the script is great, but like little stuff like that, I'm confused about. It's like there's got to be other ways. I think just the fact that they were both demoing the house shirtless is enough to show me that they are friends.
Yeah.
I don't think we need this like weird elevator gag, which by the way is the longest elevator ride I've ever witnessed in my life. Like, did you think that was the
Yes,
longest
it
elevator
was
ride
dumb.
on earth?
And like, were they work friends? Did they meet at work?
Were they all on the same? Oh, maybe. Did he just become friends with him so that he could like become a money launderer?
I don't know.
Who knows? How long has this relationship been going on? I don't know.
Yeah, they don't like say a lot about that, but I guess it's not like super important to the script. But the guy who wrote this actually was inspired by the Shakespeare play Macbeth,
Which they go to see.
Which they go to see. So he like puts that little Easter egg in
my
there
God.
about how there's like revenge after death. Kind of like what was the theme of that? Is that what that is?
I mean, there's a ghost, like his friend. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, because he kills his friend Banco, who is like his friend, and then he comes back as a ghost and is like, "Why'd you kill me?" So kind of. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't mess with ghosts.
Don't mess with ghosts,
guys.
Don't do it. Do you have any ghost stories?
I don't have any ghost stories, but I did want to talk about, since this movie is there's a psychic element to it. What you feel about the current, trend of psychics, people going to psychics. There's the Long Island medium and this kind of obsession with people have about contacting the dead and using these people, and whether you think it's like totally a farce or if are people that have that like special ability. Sweetie, what's your take?
I'd have to like check it out for myself. I think that like it is easy to get, if somebody says something like generic enough that like it could have applied to you. Like I see how that can be a scam in the horoscopes. But if I was with Sweetie breaks all of my pens, and she just broke another one, and I'm really upset about it. But okay, I'll move on. This is why you can't have nice things. If a psychic was telling me things that like I know there's no information about on the internet anywhere, it was like a one-time thing that happened, a random dad joke that we've told like nobody, then maybe I would consider it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But like I mean, and I do believe there's like a spirit world and that they can
Communicate?
make contact. Yeah, because we have dad dreams all the time, and they're very interesting.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I mean, there's different ones, and we talk about this with our friends. There's all different kinds of like dead relative dreams, right? Where like there's one where like they're dead. There's one where they come back to life after being dead, and you're worried that they're going to die again.
Yep.
And then there's like, was there a third one, or are those the only two like scenarios? And then maybe there's one that's kind of like in the past but not. But we both had dreams where our dad has like told us things, or like just saying hi, and it's just very interesting.
Yeah,
because I don't know, because usually with my dreams I can look at a dream and say, I know exactly why I had that dream because I thought about this for like a split second, and then my brain did something weird with it. But like in all those dad ones, I don't know if I can say that I thought about dad for like that, a brief that moment.
Well, just like in The Sixth Sense, remember he tells him to like communicate with his wife while she's sleeping.
Right.
So maybe there is some like a certain channel opens up your subconscious when you're sleeping that will allow like the spirit world to come in a little bit and talk to people who are still alive.
I hope so.
Like,
it's a
that's
really
what I
lovely
think.
idea. Yeah.
I mean, I am under the feeling that I think the psychics that are out there today are mostly, and having been someone who has gone through a period of grief after losing someone you love, how vulnerable you are in that moment, and those moments even years after, and how I feel like that's kind of takes advantage of people in a very dire position who will listen to anything and who will believe even the smallest glimmer of some sort of coincidence that you say something, and like I just don't like it. And I feel like it's just takes advantage of that whole thing. And it just makes me very sad. And I know there's, that Long Island medium lady like has like sold out like theaters and will pick random people out of the audience. And you're like, is that
sure they're random?
Yeah. Like that's the thing, like all that stuff. And even like with the internet now, like those people could totally Google you, find pictures on Facebook, and like make those kind of connections where like in this movie, for instance, like the Oda Mae like having all that information and like why Molly doesn't believe her is kind of unbelievable in itself, because it's nowadays you could be like, maybe you would be able to find that stuff out through Facebook, like I said, or social media or like whatever. But before the internet, like I don't like, how would you possibly know unless Sam told other people those stories and it somehow like got back to her?
Back to some random woman she never has heard of in her life. Like I don't know. Yeah, pretty.
And it's and like if you do like, I remember I read this biography about Houdini, and he lost his mom and went through a very big period of grief. And it was that time, it was the very like when all those psychics and all those like seances were really happening. And it was like a huge deal. And these people making tons of money off of these very, very sad people going through like intense grief. And Houdini, being like the master of magic and all that stuff, got to the like figured out that these people were totally like total scam artists and made it like his life mission to like expose all those people. because he was just so upset that they were taking advantage of people in their time of grief.
Taking advantage of people, thinking that like he can do magic when he can't.
But that's magic. That's not like they're going to be deceived.
Whatever,
essentially.
Harry, whatever.
Yeah. But I always thought that was so interesting because, like in that sense, like remember the old seances where they would have like because in that case they would have
like
stuff
knock
that
3
moved,
times.
like move the table and they would put lights. You know, it was like basically just like a whole show that they manufactured these like spiritual happenings. But I always think that's so fascinating.
It is. I hope and think that I'm a little bit psychic. But like I don't think I am, but like I feel like I am, like I should be.
I have deja vu like all the time, so this is my thing.
Is that being psychic? Deja vu is just like a weird brain function.
I swear to God, like I have lived stuff. I've already lived like this life.
Deja vu. Okay, sure.
Isn't that what deja vu is?
Well, yeah, but it's just like a feeling that you remember something.
Yes.
Like you have been through this before.
But mine are specifically, I have dreamed moments that I end up living. That's what I do.
Okay.
So isn't that psychic?
Like what?
So just like weird little events that happen, like and they're very like blasé and minor. Like I'll be at the grocery store and it's like something will happen. I'll be like, wait, I've definitely dreamt
you just
this.
said that. Blasé and minor. Like couldn't it just, why wouldn't it happen if it's blasé and minor? Like
why
you go to
is
the
that
grocery
in my
store
dream?
every week.
Why is blasé weird like events like that in my dreams though?
Like what? You drop the butter? Like I need more deets.
I'm telling you, it's really weird.
Okay, maybe. But I don't know. I just always hope that I'm psychic, but I don't think I am. Because I've never felt like a ghostly presence. I've had like one ghost experience, but like...
What was your ghost experience?
Okay. The ghost experience was... I was trying to go to sleep, and I couldn't. And our older sister Liz was coming home. She was like a waitress at some restaurant. You were not around. I think it... Yeah. This was at our house. This was like in the winter. I think it was when she worked in Chatham. Mm-hmm. And when she met that Tim guy. I think it was around that time. So I'm sleeping, and then I hear Liz come home, and then she like goes to the bathroom, and then I hear all these people talking, and I think in my head like, oh my God, Liz brought all these people over to the house. Like Mom's gonna be so mad, and it's very loud, and there's like all these people talking. It sounds like a party, and then I hear this weird baby crying noise, and then somebody's like, "You have not Kim, what is it? Like, you have someone's shoe. Like, you have someone's shoe." And then I'm like, I get up and I like look out the window. There's nothing there. There's snow on the ground. So there's like not people outside. Like no one is outside. And then I like go back to bed.
It came from outside?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it just stopped. Like everything just stopped. And I was like, what the fuck was that? And I was like, why did Liz bring these people here? So then the next morning at breakfast, I'm like, Liz, did you bring a bunch of people over last night? And she was like, you heard that too? And I was like, yes. And then we were like, because Liz and I are both like obviously like conspiracy theorists, and like if like one of us thinks something, it's like she'll like talk. But I mean, I don't know
ghost
what
party
happened,
out the
but
window.
like it was weird, and like I've never heard a noise like that, baby crying sound. That like, and like when you said that like they made that noise by slowing down a baby crying, it really freaked me out because I was like, that was the noise I heard.
Scary.
Yeah. So that was my ghost story.
Oh my God. Do we have to tell my story about the old man in my closet?
Tell it if you want. I have a theory, but whatever.
So my apartment now, like I swear to God, I've like gotten up sometimes and I see like a man in a hat in my closet. I also like have no vision. I'm like almost legally blind. So I don't know if I can totally trust myself, but it's kind of weird.
That is the scariest thing I've ever heard in my life. And when Sweetie told me,
it's like the Babadook. It's almost like that.
When Sweetie told me,
after we, oh no, I didn't live there.
I was
then.
way, yeah. When Sweetie told me this, I was terrified and was like, but then I started thinking logically, and I was like, okay, here's what I think is happening. I think there's a secret door in your closet, and the man that lives downstairs comes up there in the middle of the night and stares at you.
It's Steve.
So I sometimes like take care of April.
Why would he have a hat on though?
I don't know. I don't make the rules.
Why is he wearing a
He's
derby
trying to
to
be
just
incognito.
spy on?
He's trying to be incognito. So then I'm like taking care of her cat or something, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna investigate the closet stitch, make sure there's not a secret door. So I'm like feeling all the things. I couldn't find anything, but a lot of times with secret doors, like you can only get out
the like hollow.
a little. Yeah, I did, and I didn't find anything, but it doesn't mean it's not a reality. I just think it's super weird, and it really scares me, and I would never sleep there.
Man, I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight.
If the old man comes
smoke
back,
my sleepy pot.
Yep, that's what you need, and then you'll be out. Our friend Jill definitely has a ghost in her house, which is very cool. And I mean, like she tells us stories. We try to have a seance, nothing happened, but like I believe it. I believe it 100%. Yeah. I love ghosts. I love ghost stuff, but I don't think if I ever encountered a ghost, I'd probably be like really scared. But I still really want to have like an actual
Me
experience.
too. We've talked about this many times now. I'm pumped. I don't think I'd be as scared. I'm really interested into that whole thing. And I think in general, they're not there to hurt you. They're just there to communicate.
So one of my favorite shows was that MTV show Fear, where they like just put like 5 strangers. They like blindfold them and lead them to like some supposedly haunted location, right? And then they get instructions. You remember this?
Kinda.
And they get instructions from a computer that's like, player red, like go to the sugar shack in the prison and like stay there for 10 minutes in the dark, whatever.
Whoa.
And they like have them do all these scary things, usually by themselves.
Yeah.
And like if they survive the night, they get like $10,000 or whatever. If you leave, then the money goes into like the pot. So like
wow.
Potentially, if everyone leaves and one person is remaining, they get like all that money.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, like a lot of people just couldn't do it. They'd just be like, there's a feeling, and like it's not like something happened. Like they have the live cameras attached to them, so you know that like there's no MTV producers
It's just
like
that
doing
their
things.
fear making
Right.
it terrifying.
And like, see, that would be my problem. Like, I can't even go in haunted houses if I know that there's like something. If I have to walk down like a scary dark hallway, I'm not doing it. Like, there's no way I would survive in that. So that's why I don't think if I encountered a real ghost, I'd be able to like cope with it.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. I think it's like more the fear of the unknown that's like scarier than the actual ghost would be, and like kind of how you built it up, as all humans do, about that kind of a thing. So.
But I mean,
it's cool.
that'd be fun if we did like a podcast episode in like the Lizzie Borden house or something. Yeah. We could experiment.
I just read this whole thing about Lizzie Borden, how it's like we're pretty sure like she didn't kill her parents.
Well, yeah, I thought that was always the main theory.
Oh, okay.
That they've been trying to like refute.
Yeah.
But then who did it?
Right.
Did they have a theory about that?
I don't know. I'll continue this woman's
I thought the theory
Twitter
was
thread.
that she was like a lesbian and she wanted to like run away with her like lover, and then somebody else killed them, maybe like for that purpose.
It's just there was like no real evidence that like she did it.
But that is also there was no real evidence back then anyway.
But she didn't even get she wasn't found guilty. So
right, because they didn't have anything, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting story. Anything else we left out?
I think that's it. Good movie, guys. Though, was this free somewhere?
Love Ghost.
Or did we stream this, or did we buy it?
It's on Stars,
Oh, yeah.
which actually would recommend you get a subscription to. It's only like $6. It's
a lot of old movies on
normal.
there?
A lot of old movies, a lot of new movies. They have a really good movie selection.
Oh, cool.
So it's really good. So good times, good times.
Nice.
Yeah. But thanks, guys, for listening. You can find us on Twitter at The Sweetie Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.